no run. Not good.
It's time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by thedartzone.com. Stay in the zone. Thedartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics. And Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
Okay, welcome to Dart Talk.
Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Steve P., Mystery Mark, Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators, Melissa, Aaron, everybody. Disclaim right away.
Right away.
Right away. Get it over with.
The views, opinions, rants, and rampages expressed on Dart Talk do not necessarily reflect individually or collectively those of our sponsors, co-sponsors, wannabe hosts, hearing-impaired critics, or those with a penchant for attitudinal dysfunction. We at Dart Talk strive to provide you, the listener, with an educational, entertaining, and fun-filled experience each and every week. If after the show you, the listener, find yourself feeling uneducated, unentertained, and or bored, we at Dart Talk consider that your own problem.
Okay, get that out of the way. How you doing?
I am well. How are you?
I'm good. We finally had some decent weather. It was almost grillable on Sunday, so it's coming. The good weather is coming.
It got a little cold again, but it's slowly making its way.
Just when they think you're out, they pull you back in. Aggravating.
The weekend was really nice.
Yeah, it was about time. I'm ready for, cargo shorts and flip-flops and that whole deal. A lot to get to. We'll catch up on American darts. We will go through the BDO order of merit to see who is going to represent the U.S. at Lakeside, at least who's in the running. Looks like about 5 people have a legitimate shot at it, although they listed 100.
Right.
We won't run through the whole 100. I looked through the ADO rankings for cricket in 01. We can go through that if we have time. A lot of familiar names, people I haven't seen lately. But we'll start out with the PDC. The Premier League
the
is
update?
Clarifying. It's coalescing behind certain people who are looking good. So you take us through this, and I'm going to ask questions because it does get a little confusing when you go through the table.
All right.
What happened?
Well,
what happened last week?
Last we left them was night 11.
Meanwhile,
Rack at the bench.
okay.
April 14th, night 11. Our Robert Thornton beat Peter Wright 7-2.
7-2.
RVB lost to Phil Taylor 7-5. Adrian Lewis beat James Wade 7-5.
That could be the death knell for Wade and Barney. I think they needed to win.
Adrian Lewis hit a 9-dart finish.
Oh, nice.
And Van Gerwen and Anderson tied 6-6.
Yeah, I saw the stats on that match. We can go through those. It was a pretty good display of dartsmanship there.
And then RVB got the second match of the day against Robert Thornton and beat him 7-4.
Which should put Thornton completely out of it, if I remember correctly.
If the mathematics are correct, Thornton only has 6 points.
With how many to go?
After 11. Well, there's 15, so there's 4 matches.
Yeah, he's out of it. If he won out, he'd have 14 points, and that even wouldn't really put him in.
It would tie him with, that would mean Anderson and everybody else would have to lose every match. And
Not going to happen.
I guarantee one of those guys plays each other. And
I think somebody can scrape together a draw in the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
So, that would put Thornton out of it. Basically, it's really, it looks like, Taylor wins again. Him and Van Gerwen and have 20 and 16 points. Van Gerwen has another match to play.
So he's really
20
only
to 18,
one win behind. He's 2 points behind Taylor. He's right there.
Lewis and Anderson both also have a match to play. They're 15 and 14, so they're 5 and 6 points back.
So a match to play, you mean they have 4 left instead of 3?
Correct.
Okay, so you give them 8 points to what their total is, puts them over 20. They're at 15 and 14.
23.
22, 23. So figure they take 3. So they're both going to end up 21 points roughly,
right?
Something like that.
In which James Wade then is sitting, and he has 1 less to play. Or he's played.
So he has 3 left.
He's only got 3 left, and he's at 13. So you're talking.
He can't make
he's
20.
At 19.
He wins out. He's at 19.
Right.
That is a
Peter
big
Wright,
ask.
I mean, it basically puts RVB out of it too.
Yeah.
Peter Wright has an extra match to play. He's at 11, so
he can make 19.
Yeah, he can make 19. So that would take. Now, granted, you would have to look at it. If Peter Wright won all 4, is he playing? The guys that he has to beat.
I'm sure he'll be playing somebody up there.
Right.
But 19 may not make it. You've got Taylor's already at 20. Van Gerwen's at 16 or 18?
16, but
with 4 to play.
With 4 to play.
And then 15 with 4 to play is Anderson?
Lewis.
With Lewis.
And 14 with 4 to play is Anderson.
So they're all...
James Wade is the only one there right now with 1 point behind Anderson, but he's already played
he's played the extra match, yeah.
So Anderson's got a 1 point lead on him with an extra match to play, and it's pretty much going to be if it's not those 4 guys.
If they win, so Anderson and Lewis and Van Gerwen, their fate is in their own hands. If they win, they're in.
Yeah.
Wade needs an awful lot of help, and Peter Wright needs
even more than that.
Well, no, actually, because Wright's got an extra game to play, so he's actually ahead of Wade.
Wade could be tied, yes,
but Wright needs a lot of help. Wade needs an awful lot of help, and Van Barneveld needs a miracle. Van Barneveld's out of
he's
it.
Out.
He the most he can make is 9 and 6, 15 points.
6, yeah.
Yeah, he's done.
He's done.
So it's really the bottom 4 guys are toast. It's really Wright and Wade can maybe sneak in there if things fall right.
If Anderson completely falls, but and Wright would have a better chance than Wade because, well, he would still have to win his extra match. But I think those top 4 are going to just run through.
It's going to be hard for Wright to make it up there, and I don't think Wade really has a realistic chance. So unless somebody falls apart, if Anderson doesn't win anymore.
So it's going to basically be your, the usual suspects.
Well,
Taylor, Van Gerwen, Lewis, and Anderson.
Yeah, I'm not sure Lewis would have been everybody's pick to make top 4. I mean, you look at, the way Chizzy was playing going into this thing, and, Barney's always tough. Barney's always a threat. And, Peter Wright's consistently been playing well for, 2 years now, 30 months, whatever it is. I mean, so you don't automatically discount him. Wade's the guy that, always seems to be there, but somehow it never looks to me like he's playing well enough to belong. And then the minute I say that, he'll go and average 105.
Right.
And the minute I say Wade's back, he goes out there and throws rubbish. So you tell me what to make of the guy. I don't know. He's enigmatic. He's the Cincinnati Bengals. I keep saying that. I've probably said that 10 times. It's no offense to anybody in Cincinnati. The story is back when I used to, do a lot of football handicapping, I was about 75% on every team except the Bengals, where my percentage was 0. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what I decided ultimately that the Bengals would do. They would just do the opposite.
Yeah.
And I gave up. And I remember my buddy, who was my partner, he's like, do you even want to take a crack at the Bengals? I'm like, no. I have no idea what they're going to do.
Yeah.
You figure it out.
Pick one and take the opposite.
Didn't matter who they were playing. It was just a game that I would just stay away from. I couldn't figure out the Bengals. And I stayed away from the Bears back then because I liked them too much and I couldn't be objective.
Sure.
And that cost me a lot because they were covering week in and week out, 85, 86, 87. good team. Was there any other like PDC action that we should talk about, or should we just?
Not that I saw. You want to talk about the match though between?
Well, right. The best match
Van Gerwen
as far as quality dartsmanship and good darts was the Van Gerwen Anderson draw, where no one had to break a throw.
None.
They both averaged close to 110. They both were what was Van Gerwen was 60%.
6 out of 10.
And
60%.
Anderson 6 out of 7 is like
on his outs.
830. What is that average? 1 out of 7. You take 4. It's about 86%, something like that.
I mean, it's 86%.
I don't know what more you want the guy to do.
86%, and
he played 12 legs.
One yard away from 100%.
12 legs. He had 3 ton 80s, 13 ton 40s, something like that.
Yes.
And
13 ton 40s. Yeah, MVG had
it's awfully consistent.
80s, but
his high finish was 119.
Where Van Gerwen, his high finish was 82, which is probably low in his standards. So,
Well, if that may be the highest finish he actually looked at. He may have ended up after 12 darts sitting on 40 all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the standard of play that the guy's exhibiting week in and week out is better than anything anyone has done, and that's including Taylor. Just the week in, week out.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor's always kind of at 100, but Van Gerwen seems to exceed that the jump.
Right.
From
the
15 darts
to
making you a winner to 15 darts not being good enough is a credit to Van Gerwen, and obviously, some guys have come close to that, but it's going to be really interesting to see. I mean, it's only April. Right? We've got a long way to go, and there's a lot of matches to go, but I'm already wondering if this is the year that, like, the separation between Van Gerwen and everyone else kind of grows to the point where
that's the thing about this. So I mean, Taylor's won 9 matches, and Van Gerwen's only won 6 in this thing.
Yeah,
to me, it's going to be interesting to see when you get to the Final Four. Can Taylor continue it?
It's going to be interesting.
Now he's going to have to beat Van Gerwen when it counts.
Well, and it's a little bit of a longer format when you get to the Final Four. And you look at the possible matchups. I mean, I would take Taylor over Lewis, but I'm not sure I would take Taylor over Anderson.
Right.
And depending on how everyone finishes, you could see Taylor.
They do 1-4-2-3.
Yeah, they go 1-4-2-3. Right. So I seriously doubt that you're going to see Taylor and Van Gerwen in the first round. But
that would take a lot. If that would take a couple of losses by Van Gerwen.
Yeah, if it turns out that Taylor's playing Lewis and Anderson's playing Van Gerwen, then I think that's Taylor's likeliest path to the title, I would think. And maybe that's Anderson's likeliest path too. You catch Van Gerwen early.
Okay.
As opposed to later. Sure. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? It's still a month away.
It's a tough path any way you look at it.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, if it's better to go to these Premier League things the first 4 weeks, because now how many matches are really going to matter, right? You look at the guys in the bottom that are out of it and are playing spoilers and playing for pride. I mean, they're not going to tank, but I don't know how compelling a Van Gerwen Thornton match is going to be right now, unless Thornton embarrasses him.
Well, yeah,
playing out the string in the Premier League is like I don't find it.
But it's got to help, like Michael Smith, and
well,
he needs to play that all the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's his first season in the Premier League, and I'm pretty sure he wants to finish better than he started, which is he started with nothing.
Right.
Or was he relegated? Or was he?
Well, he is relegated now. Oh, yeah, so he wouldn't be playing anyway.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Him and Chizzy are out.
Right.
So they're,
my bad. Never mind.
No, but Thornton and Barney,
yeah,
playing out the string, playing for pride. Don't know how compelling that is. I always like watching Barney throw. Not so much Thornton, but I find there's something.
I don't know, but wouldn't you think, though, even though you're just playing out the string, I mean, every time you're facing MVG, you want to beat them? You know, I mean, it's just...
Yeah, well, want to, and...
Well, I get it, but, so obviously, like you said, they're not going to tank, but I think it still could be compelling because I think they're still going to be out there. And
depending on the level of play, I mean, what's more compelling? Watching Van Gerwen crush somebody averaging 117 or watching somebody push him to the final leg where you're both averaging like 102?
Well, sure.
What would you rather see? I mean, for me...
Well, I'd rather see the push to the 102.
Would you? I think I'd rather see him just go ape.
You just see him destroy him?
Yeah. Well, not so much destroy him, but just play at the highest possible level.
Right.
Because I'm all about process, And I would find that there's something really exhilarating and something really inspiring about watching somebody who's really mastered this sport, like, put it on full display. I like that. Ideally, right, the other guy, you're going to drag him forward and, if he can hold his throw a few times and throw 12 darters on his own throw so you don't break him, then you got a match.
Mm.
Right? If he's going to take, your throw off and then you're going to throw 11 darters anyway, well, now, you see what I'm saying? You got a pretty good match, even if, in that scenario, the statistics wouldn't line up quite so much. Right? If you're going to throw like rubbish on my leg and then throw 12 darters on your throw, so the leg score is going to be pretty even, you could average like 97 to my 110.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm pushing you on your throw.
Right.
And then I don't know. I don't know how much tennis. I don't know how much tennis you played, but I remember a lot of 3-set matches where halfway through the second set, I'd be so tired after serving, I'd get, the other guy would hold it love because I was just like, ugh.
You don't care?
Well, no, I mean, like five, deuces on my serve, and now I'm like, then the other guy zip, 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 zip. Oh, okay, thanks. Now I got to serve again. You see that with the women's game a lot. You look at some of the lower level players they exert themselves so much on their own serve that they can't do anything the next game. I mean, darts isn't like that, but mentally,
sure,
you can get like that.
All right. I can see that.
You see that? Okay, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we'll go through a couple of tables and see what some of the Americans have been up to. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark. Steve P. Be right back.
The views and opinions expressed on Dart Talk are those of the hosts. They in no way should be misrepresented, misinterpreted, or made to claim that the universe is against you, your family, your city, or the darting community at large.
Hey, back for the second quarter of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. We do a baseball podcast now, if you guys want to check it out. Well, it's ironic.
Have I shown up?
Yes.
Oh.
It's ironic because somebody posted in the chat room that Hayward threw out a guy at the plate. And if you listen to today's podcast, it's on the backrowboys.com. I talk about how the Cardinals are afflicted with something I term institutional arrogance. Running on your ex-Gold Glove right fielder is the epitome of institutional arrogance. So they proved my point. Just thought I'd mention that. All right, so going through the tables of the BDO, it's the USA regional table, and you can find this at ADOdarts.com.
Okay.
Let me see. See, 34 being down 17 points. I don't know how many tournaments there are left, but that seems like the cutoff. There's four guys in the running, I would say, to get the Lakeside nod. And you remember Jeff Smith's already qualified.
Right.
So I don't have the Canadian. I'll try to get the Canadian table next week. But right now, with 51 points is Joe Cheney. He's got a first, a second, and 2/3. Mm-hmm. Darren Young is third at 54 with a first, a third, a fifth, and 3 ninths. Okay. Darren can't be too happy about that.
Yeah, right.
In second with 56 points, so 2 ahead of Darren Young and 5 ahead of Joe Cheney is Charles Sawyer. He's got a first, a second, 2/3, and a fifth. That's pretty solid. Mm-hmm. And then, all of these are kind of like the bigger tournaments on the Diddle Tour, with a format where I believe it starts out minimum best of 5. So a bit longer than the Diddle Tour is used to. I don't know if they're doing alternate start or not because it's the Diddle Tour. My God, why would you do that? Number 1 with 61 points. So he's 5 ahead of Sawyer. And 5 points is the difference between ninth and winning. So 5 points it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's actually a lot. It's
ninth and winning. Well, you get 6 points for ninth.
Well,
and
but
14.
look at you get 14 for first, you get 12 for second, you get 10 for third. So if you're 5 points behind, you have to win while the other guy finishes top 16.
Oh, right, sure.
You see, so
yes,
that gap, even though it doesn't sound like a lot, is actually a lot. So Jim Widmer's in first. He's got 1 first, 1 second, 2/3, a fifth, and a ninth. And again, you get points for attendance, right? There's no limit to how many.
Why shouldn't you?
Well, if I was running something like this, I would say, look, you only get your top 4 results, right? But they never do it that way. But it just seems to me it's like, look, don't make me fly to like 9 tournaments and like pile up a bunch of top 16s because that's just dumb. Right? What's it cost you to go to an extra 5 tournaments versus what's the prize money at Lakeside if you're out in the first round? Is it really worth it? Well, again, so Widmer's in first with 61. So he's 5 ahead of Sawyer. He's 7 ahead of Darren. And 10 ahead of Cheney.
Top? Only one or top 2?
Top 1.
Top 1.
It's a one-shot deal.
Yeah.
So Wid's in good shape, and I don't know that he's going to go anywhere. I'm sure he'll show up at the. Well, that's a good question. I don't have that. I will effort that. I'm pretty sure there's more. I don't know what the cutoff is because I see the Seacoast here, and do I see where is which city?
Well, there's Syracuse.
All right, so which city's in October? It's going to be done before October.
Okay.
Charlotte. And let's see, Virginia Beach is over. I don't know. There's probably maybe only 1 or 2 tournaments left.
Most of those are 2015.
As far as what the I mean, And that's the thing. I mean, this thing starts kind of early. That they don't use a normal calendar year. The calendar year they're using starts in like October or something like that. And then most of the tournaments are between, October and April. So, so Wid is sitting pretty. Darren can get second pretty easy. I don't know. You're going to need some wins. Like I know, for instance, Stanford in August is going to be big.
How do they consider the points? Darren wins. Virginia Beach gets 18 points, but
bigger field.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, bigger field. So if you win a big field event, you get more points.
Right.
But look at the points you get for second and fourth, and
because Cheney got second, got 15. So he's only got 3 points less for losing to Darren Young at Virginia Beach.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that was a 3-point swing.
Yeah.
And that's
Sawyer
the difference between the two of them.
At the White Mountain Shootout, but
right. Well, that was the same weekend as Virginia Beach, so he won it, but lost 4 points to Darren in the process. But it's better than going down to Virginia Beach, and if you make top 16, and then you only get 10 points, whatever it is.
Yeah,
so 9 points.
Well, he could have gotten second at Virginia Beach and got one more point, but
that's
it.
Well, it's also he lives in Boston,
right?
So I mean. The White Mountain tournament, from what I know, from the New England people, is like a really fun, kind of different tournament. It's at some ski resort kind of thing that's out of season. You book your rooms a year in advance. It's like a total fun weekend. They do like a pajama shoot or something.
Really?
They have consolation singles. Yeah, they do some different things, and it's too bad it's the same weekend as Virginia Beach, because Virginia Beach has the big cricket singles that Darren won this year. And always is a great tournament. This is the first year I've missed it in like 7 years. Really like going down there.
I know. You used to go. You used to make a week of it.
Yeah. It was maybe next year we'll do it. So that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Now the ADO in their rankings put out a list of I don't really know why they do this, because I don't know that they use it, but they have national rankings for O1 and for cricket.
Mm-hmm.
So we could look at those. Which one do you want to see first?
I would say O1.
Men, women?
I'll go with the women.
Go with the women. Let's see who the women are doing. And you want to do O1?
Yeah.
See? So you go on the website, you can check this stuff out. Okay. See anybody you don't know?
Holly Young,
Hoover's
Young doesn't ring a bell to me, but
Holly Young doesn't ring a bell.
No.
That's it used to be Frary.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But then when you marry Darren Young, then you become
there you go.
Holly Young.
Well, see,
so that's Holly.
All right, okay. Well then, yeah.
Okay.
Murphy, yeah.
Well,
Pace
run down
West.
the top 10: Paula Murphy, Stacey Pace, Callie West, Holly Young, Robin Curry, Kelly Mears, Sandy Hudson, Betty Cunningham, Kay Hoover, and Lisa Ayres.
Yeah.
Is there one name you don't know?
Now, no.
Let me see. How far down I have to go to find somebody that I don't know.
Sandy Haas.
Terry Godso is 18th. I don't know who that is. But congrats to everybody there. Okay, so let's go to the women's cricket. And we'll see. What was it, 18th before I didn't know somebody?
Correct.
Okay, let's see where we go here. So the women's cricket right now runs Paula Murphy, Callie West, Lisa Ayres, Stacey Pace, Renee Ripple, Rachel Burris, Kelly Mears, Sandy Haas, Robin Curry, Betty Cunningham.
I don't know Rachel Burris.
Haven't the slightest idea. Never. That's a name I would remember, too, because there was a Ray Burris that used to pitch for the Cubs.
Right.
Camellia Classic, Syracuse Open, Port City, Virginia Beach, and Charlotte. I don't know. Must be a good player, though. She's ranked, right? Good for her.
Or she's played well so far.
Yeah, in the cricket. For the men's 01, let's see. Can you read these? Because I need a drink of water.
Butler, Cheney, Young,
no,
Sawyer.
wait, hang on.
Oh,
this is for the 01. There you go.
Oh. Cheney, Butler, Young, Sawyer, Danny Pace, Widmeyer, David Walsh, Leonard Gates, Timmy Nickel, Ralph McCool for the top 10.
Oh, okay, so they're tied at 9th. All right. Dave Walsh, how about
DJ
that?
Sayer hanging in there at 12. Danny Baggish.
Don't know John Foreman.
No, I don't either. No.
All right, so that's the Patrick Kithy. Remember he was on the show 3 years ago?
Oh, my God, that was a while ago. Yep.
That was a fun one. What was this, 01? Let's do cricket. Hello. Cricket.
Oh, there you go. Same guys.
Yeah, no surprise.
Young Butler, Nickel, Cheney, Sawyer. Oh, Chris Lims, Robbie Phillips, Walsh, Baggish, and Sayer. Sayer made top 10 there, so.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Stan Perry on 14. Never heard of him.
Stan Perry. Yep.
Jay Ogasane.
Actually, at 12, I don't remember a Steve Chorba. I don't know who that is. A lot of familiar names there. Some of these, the MMDL are guys that you probably wouldn't know. Those are Minuteman Dart League.
Oh, yeah.
Like Boston people.
Right.
Boy, I'll tell you, though, you know what strikes me as funny is the point numbers are low. Like, I wonder if, like, the number of players that are going to every single Diddle Tour is down a little bit. Because the numbers are usually higher, I would think, this time of year, if all the results are in. So that's kind of interesting. Oh, the ADO did a nice job kind of updating their website.
Well,
Don't you think?
Compared to what we used to look at? Yeah, it's way better. You can actually find results. Or at least a list. So,
yeah.
But that's
doesn't look
way
like
better
much
than
news.
Than what it used to be.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take a break and we'll be back with more. Feel free to put Blackhawk updates in the chat room. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark Steve P. Be right back.
Dart Talk agrees to adhere to the Geneva Convention in treating fairly its prisoners in their war against lackluster darting administration and behaviour.
Hey, back for the second half of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
DartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor.
Pause there.
Yes. Okay. We really needed it. Thanks for the updates in the chat room. I'm a big Blackhawks fan, so I'm taking one for the team. And I cannot. We're blacked out for actually putting the Hawks on the iPad. This blackout stuff on streaming is beyond irritating.
Yeah, it's very irritating. We had a question if we have mentioned or named American shooter in the World Dart Trophy yet.
The American shooter in the World Dart Trophy.
which we're not exactly sure what that is, but
Yeah.
the question of who is it is he has talons, is baldish, and wears glasses, so my guess would be Larry
Tom
Butler.
Curtin.
Tom Curtin. Or Tom Curtin.
Oh, who is it?
I'm guessing. Well,
they didn't give the name. They
No.
just gave a description.
Has talons, baldish, and wears glasses. And
Has
I
talons?
guess talons. Talons.
Oh, talons.
Not well.
Okay.
They all have talent, I would hope.
I misheard you.
So I'm guessing the bald eagle
You might want to
of
kind of ask the chat room exactly what the World Dart Trophy is, because I must say I missed the memo on that one. Maybe they'll be kind enough to update us or put a web
but
link there.
apparently
or
that's
something.
Larry Butler's deal.
Well, okay. There was did somebody ask in the chat room how many 9-darters I've thrown?
How close have you come to throwing?
I have
a
actually hit a 9-darter. I took out a 141 with the double 12 and let out a scream, blood-curdling scream. Scared anybody around. And it was one of those things where I've missed the double 12 maybe 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
And there's an impulse that you have where, you go to the line and
St. Louis scored, by the way.
Which St. Louis? The Blues?
Yeah.
Oh. To be honest, I would be fine if the Hawks lose to the Blues in the first round and take a vacation. That is one tired look. They have looked tired for months. It's just all the attrition of being in the playoffs deep every year has finally gotten to the core
Takes
guys.
a toll. Yeah.
And I just think I don't think they have the legs for it. And I'm wondering about the Kings. The Kings should have been down 0-3. They got lucky last night.
Well, that's what we said. They're probably going to win both the games on the road. They win in overtime. But,
Yeah.
Anyway, going back.
And
to
it
what
was
you're saying.
typical Kings hockey too. Put all these huge guys in front of the net where there's no gaps to shoot, and then wait for a loose puck. I hate the way they play. Yes, what we're saying? Oh, right. So you get this impulse, right? You're playing 301 or something, and you're trying to go in on whatever your double is. Say you come in on double 16 all the time, and you're kind of missing it, and you're missing it. Let's say we're playing like 10 legs at 301.
Mm-hmm.
You go in and you miss it, and then end up losing the leg, and then the next leg starts, you go in and you miss it. You get to this point where you have to decide, should I get off this number because I need to get in, or I know I'm going to hit it now. Right, I've been missing it, but I know why I missed it. And
right,
with the 141, I kept missing the double 12, and I know there's another way to do it. I mean, you could go for the 15, and that puts you on a 36 out.
Correct.
Right, because you're on 96, and then and to be honest, I think it's an easier switch to
do
go.
You do that
from,
on your first start, or after you get the triple 20 to leave 81? You do it first.
Yeah. No, you hit the triple 20.
Yeah.
So you're on 81 with 2 darts.
Right.
I have seen guys go for the 15 first. It's an easier switch to go trip 20, double 18 than it is to go trip 19, double 12. But, I mean, once you've done it a few times.
You're not going trip 20, double 18. You're going trip 15, double 18.
Well, that's why some guys go for the 15 first.
Oh. Well, that's
I don't
what I just
see
asked you.
Well, I don't do it that way.
Oh, okay.
You asked me how I did it.
Okay.
I want the 7th trip 20. You've just hit it 6 times in a row,
right.
Assuming, it wasn't some weird, I went 177 and 174, just assuming you went back-to-back 1080s. But I clearly remember this, that I was like, there's no reason to keep missing this 12.
Mm-hmm.
I can hit it, and when the 19 went in dead center, I'm like, I got this. And I'm saying I got this literally as I'm bringing the dart back. And I was just like, follow through. Jesus. It's not that hard. Sort of like Jake Arrieta batting, one of the Cubs pitchers. They're driving in more runs than the hitters lately, at least tonight. I've thrown one. I've come close a bunch of times, but when I come close, generally I miss the 7th dart.
Okay.
Like I'll throw back-to-back 1080s, or I'll go like 1080, 1077, and then clunk.
1.
Yeah.
Trip 1.
Yeah, trip
whatever.
1.
Yeah.
Fat 20. Throw it in the trip 5, whatever, some lame dart. But I do remember maybe I'd been playing about 2 years when I saw Phil Taylor throw a 9-darter, that from that moment on, I would always find time to go try to take out 141. As if, look, dude, if you're going to be a player, you have to learn to take out 141. Mm-hmm. Like kind of weird tunnel vision on it. I told you the first time I threw a ton 70 out, right? I'm sitting at some tournament.
Unfortunately, I do not recall this.
Well, okay. This is back
yes,
when Steve had enthusiasms. So here's what happens. I'm at a tournament, and I don't know really anybody, but I know who some people are. Like Johnny Kaczynski was there, and Ray Carver was there, and a few other guys, and the boards were crowded. So I kind of was standing there, and somebody's like, just get in line. I'm like, okay. And then, there's like 6 guys in line. So, I start creeping up like at the grocery store or something. And then finally, they're starting to tell numbers back to each other. And I'm kind of like, so what is this? And they're like, oh, you want in? And I'm like, well, what are we playing? It's like, well, you're trying to hit a 170. If you hit a 170, everyone gives you like $3. If you hit a 130 and no one else does, everyone gives you $2. And if you hit a 90 and no one hits it, then everyone gives you $1. And I'm like, yeah, I got some singles, fine. So I go up. I go fat 20, and I'm about to go for the 20. And the guy behind me is like, well, now you need a double bull. And I'm like, okay, boom. So I threw a 90.
Yeah.
And then everybody missed until it gets to the last guy, who I think was Johnny Kaczynski, and he throws a 90 and just lets out a whoop and looks at me, and I'm like, haven't you done that? Haven't you done that before?
Yeah.
But it's saved because it was one tie, all tie. No one had to cough up a buck, right? So we're playing this for, I don't know, 10 minutes, and then the event starts, and it was probably at the Windy City Open or something, right? And so this was on Sunday. So I wake up Monday morning, and I grab my darts, and I'm like, okay, so 170, that's the toughest out. So I take a sip of coffee, stick it on the bookcase, and I'm like, 105. Well, it was close. 105. Damn. 130. Okay, well, I just need 2 triples. I triple 20, double bull. I'm like, oh, okay, 170. Then I sat down and finished my coffee.
Okay.
I mean, looking back on it now, as naive as I was, not realizing, this is not that easy to do.
Right.
I just had it in my head. Well, okay, 2 triples and a double bull. I mean, okay. It's not that hard.
Well, right. Well, plus on the practice board, it's different as opposed to.
Oh,
first of all, the amount of you can practice for 10 minutes trying to take 170 out, but you only got one shot at it when you're in a competition.
Yeah, and it doesn't come up that often.
Right.
I mean, how many times, you'd like to be on something lower. I mean,
exactly.
if you've thrown 9 darts and your 9th dart is a bullseye to leave 170, well, okay.
Right.
But I mean, if you're on 171 with 1 dart and you're throwing into the 1, I mean, you can't be too happy about it. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, no, that's when everybody looks at you and goes, "Oh, way to leave it out." When you chuck it into the 1.
Yeah, I guess my point is like, if you don't make these kinds of things hard in your brain, then they're not that hard. You know what I mean? I think a lot of darters, with whatever clutter they have going on there, and with all the times they've missed it that they have not let go of, that they don't approach it with the kind of simplistic confidence that you need to get something done. Oh, I need to hit this.
Right.
Boom. So hit it. It's not that hard. How are we on time?
We're ready for a break.
All right, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about how to aim and whether or not you should. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark Steve P, and we will be back in a minute.
You are now and forevermore warned that you consume this show at your own risk, and that Dart Talk cannot be brought to justice in any court or by any government, including and not restricted to the grand spaghetti monster of the Triple 20.
Hey, back for the fourth quarter of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official console distributor. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Don't forget, we have a website, darttalk.us, and a YouTube channel, Dart Talk US. If you want to catch up on old shows or, catch them on iTunes, Stitcher.com, TuneIn.com, or on the website, I think there's links to the audio there, too. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Let's talk AIM for a second. I don't know that you and I have ever actually talked about this, and
we never have.
I know for a fact that, well, I won't say his name, but there's one relatively well-known player who says you don't aim.
Okay.
There's no need to aim. Hand-eye coordination. Look
Right.
at the target and just whip it in there. Not terribly scientific, and I don't know that you could get a job as a hitting coach if all you did was see the ball and hit the ball.
See ball, hit ball.
Yeah,
Tarzan know where Tarzan go. Tarzan doesn't know. Tarzan go.
So let me ask you: try to think about it and articulate it, which isn't always easy. Do you aim? And how do you go about aiming?
I think I ended up struggling with that later in my so-called dart career. I don't remember aiming when I first started playing, when I threw all the time and was pretty decent. I don't remember aiming. I just remember going up there and knowing what I wanted to throw at and throwing the darts. I don't remember ever consciously going, looking through whatever finger or dart to the triple 20 or the bullseye or whatever's thrown at.
Okay.
I remember as I slowly progressed up the ranks and I was getting better and better, and then I had to get even better to beat the tougher players. I started thinking that I need to work on this more and aim, and then my darts went downhill.
Yeah, it's funny. When you do anything that isn't natural, there's that automatic regression, and then you either have to bail on it or work with it, and then, it's the whole one step forward,
8 steps
or
back.
2 steps, 1 step back, 2 steps forward is what you're hoping you're going to get.
Right.
You're hoping that if
I was
you're going to make
more than 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah, and that's when you decide, maybe this isn't the best thing for me. Maybe I should just go back to what I was doing. Let me ask you 2 questions. One is, right before you throw, can you see your dart? Like some people kind of have where's the camera? Some people are up here like this, right? And then they throw. Can you see your dart when you're like this?
Well, yeah, I see my hand, my fingers, so yeah.
You don't see your shaft, you don't see your flights, you just see Okay.
I would see my fingers.
Okay.
Look away from the flight, but see my.
Do you have a dart injury?
No.
It looks like your dart index finger is all Shelby Miller.
It's not a dart injury. It's just a cracking
break
of the
a nail.
Cracking of the skin.
Dry
that
skin.
I need to keep moist.
Neosporin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a Band-Aid, and that's it.
Okay,
but anyway.
So you can see your hand, but you can't really see.
And I have struggled with that. Do I look at the point through the target when I actually decided to start thinking about aiming? Apparently, that's what I do. I do it through the tip. Do I do it through the way I hold the darts, my finger? And I never came up with anything good.
Okay, and then my other question was, as you're throwing, especially as your arm is moving forward. Can you see the dart?
No, I'm looking at the board.
Okay. So you're bringing the dart back to the side of your face?
Yes, pretty much. Or
Okay.
underneath it.
That's a very American thing to do.
Or underneath it.
Americans bring the dart to the side, kind of.
I think for the most part I take it below my eye instead of to the right. But I still take it away, but I'm always I never pay attention to it after that. I'm looking at the board.
Well, you know me. I mean, I kind of overanalyze stuff, especially my own game. So I'm watching Gary Anderson, and I marvel sometimes at how accurate he is. And Gary Anderson has a very simple approach to throwing a dart. He brings it right under his right eye and then just straightens his arm. So here's me doing my best Gary Anderson imitation. And it took a while for it to even feel comfortable because his forearm is at an angle. In order to get the dart under your eye, right, because your eye is not over your shoulder, and I don't know that you could really contort. Oh,
right.
God, that's painful. That's like Tony Payne. Like if you're going to bring your eye over your shoulder so you could bring the dart. I almost pulled an oblique.
I have noticed
just trying
I'm
to do
more
that.
comfortable when I do that too, when my elbow flares out.
That you're more comfortable.
Yeah, instead of trying to do this.
Well, it's kind of the difference between a pitcher who is throwing directly overhand and a guy that throws three-quarter, right? I mean, I don't know if you remember, and part of it is like when you're a kid, what position you play, what arm angle ends up being natural for you.
Sure.
Like if you're an infielder, your arm angle is probably more like three-quarter. If you're an outfielder, it's probably more overhand. If you pitched, well, I don't know how it would be. As a catcher, because you got to snap it, I was more three-quarter. Right? You can't really, and especially, because you got a bat in front of you. You just have to kind of step and get rid of it. I threw three-quarter as a catcher.
I see. I threw over the top as a catcher, but three-quarter from third base.
Really?
Because as a catcher, I took it right to my ear and just got rid of it as quick as possible. So it was more over the top because I was here. But three-quarters, third base, I was more here. But the easiest way for me to throw the ball as quick as possible to second base was to bring it to my ear and just get rid of it. So I was more over the top.
Well, which way were you more accurate?
Oh, either one. Didn't matter.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it's a hard throw because you got a way bigger margin for error throwing from third because as a catcher, you have to hit the base.
Right. But, yeah, I mean, I guess I would be more accurate from the catching standpoint, but you didn't make that throw as many times. You made the throw from third base way more times.
Okay.
From a catching standpoint, but and
were you throwing over the top back to the pitcher?
Yeah, well I did because I was always when I was catching I was always pretending I was throwing to second base.
Really?
So I always did every time I threw it back to the pitcher I was completing the same throw that I would be if I was throwing it to second.
Okay.
I kept repeating it over and over and over again. I never wanted to waver from the fact of not having, that all of a sudden come up.
See, I would just bring the ball out here and just throw it. It just seemed easier to me to get it back to, and then, when I was trying to make the throw at second, I just set my feet and threw it harder. And I was pretty accurate as far as hitting the base. Once I got to be big enough to actually make the throw, which I think when I was 10 or something.
Right.
I bore Joe with this story at least once a year.
Does a free throw shooter look at the ball? No, he looks at the basket.
Well, but it isn't so much. It isn't. My point wasn't really whether you look at the ball or you look at the front of the rim, which is, in free throw shooting, you don't stare at the laces. What I'm asking is, do you see the ball?
Right.
Is it in your peripheral vision or anything like that? Right? You could, and I tried this, you could look down the barrel if you hold the dart where you could see the barrel, which
Correct.
I don't.
Right.
But you could do that. But here's kind of what I evolved into when I was trying to do this Gary Anderson thing, and I'll throw it out there because it may, some people who like to tinker, it may help them. So now you have to picture, the dart in your hand, and I hold the dart level, parallel to the ground, pointing at the target. And then the idea I had was that I was just going to tip the flight straight backwards so the dart was in a straight line. So now instead of the dart being parallel to the floor, now it's pointing like above the number 20.
Well, it's always parallel with the angle.
But
of your arm.
it's in the exact. It only moves on. It only moves on one plane.
Yeah.
Right. Well, my finger's crooked, but so here's the dart, and as you bring it back, all it does is tip up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could bring it back like that, it seems to me you should be able to throw it the same way, and you would always be straight. So I tried that, and it took me about 45 seconds to throw a ton 80, and I was all excited. And I was like, oh, now I remember. Because when I first started playing, what I would do is I would look at the flight, and I would tip the flight back until it was under what I was aiming at, and that's when I went forward.
Okay.
And I stopped doing that 9 years ago. But it was kind of like that was my swing key when I was nickel. And throwing at the 20, I would tilt it back until the flight was below the triple 20, and then I would throw forward, and it generally would go in, or it would miss high or low. I didn't miss left or right ever. And, we're talking about golf and stuff, and I was telling you how when I developed my swing, I was like, well, I'm going to eliminate the right side of the course. Mm-hmm. I'm going to learn to have a proper golf swing where, okay, I may overcook it to the left, but if there's trouble on the right, I absolutely no issue with me. And the same thing approach was that I took to darts was I'm going to eliminate missing left or right. And another reason for this was, they made me play 301, so I was like, I would go in on the 11. Right? Well, that stroke works perfectly for the 11 because you can miss high or low, but you can't miss left or right. So, I don't know. It worked for me for a while, and I may go back and play around with it and see how it works. The problem is to have that arm angle in order to get the dart in front of your eye. I find that painful. And I don't think that that's my natural, way of throwing a dart. I think I've always been more straight up.
Did you aim?
What I did was I noticed that the dart was in position, and then I straightened my arm. So is that aiming? I didn't close my eyes.
Right.
So in a sense, I'm aiming in a visceral way where I sense that the dart is pointing to where I'm aiming. I can feel, even though I can't see it in my fingers, I can feel, because the tip is on this finger, I can feel where the dart's pointing. So in that sense, yeah, I do aim. Even when I wasn't bringing it under my eye, I do aim.
But when you get up to the line and you're starting out your first dart, all three in your hand, do you aim through your fingers and your dart into the triple 20, or do you just make sure you're at the proper 90-degree angle? And then when you're and then when your second dart goes, you're going to go to the 19s. Do you just know? Is it natural to turn your body and throw it to the 19s, or are you actually looking through the same?
Well, no. Well, see, the way I've been playing for the last number of years is I just look at it and throw. Right? So when I'm playing, when I'm actually playing, I don't know what you consider aiming. Right? So maybe we're getting on some semantic thing, but yeah, I set the dart up and I sense that it's pointing where I want it to go, and then I throw it. Mm-hmm. Is that aiming if I'm not looking down the fin? You know what I mean? Because if that's the case, then yeah, maybe I wasn't aiming all that time. But the fact that I was hitting stuff with my eyes closed means I set up correctly, and then all I do is execute.
Watching like MVG and some of these guys, some of the guys look like they aim. Some of the guys look like they just get up to the line, go up like this, and throw the dart like they're not aiming.
Well,
I mean, but
what do you consider aiming? I mean, when you're pitching and you look at the glove,
I don't consider that aiming. Looking at your triple 20 is not aiming. It's aiming through your dart or your fingers or your hand.
So by aiming, you're talking about actually
like a sight.
Yeah, then no.
If you have a sight.
Then no. But I found a way to do it.
Okay.
Okay. If you want to aim, you could do this thing where you just rock the dart back, and you can see it now in your vision as well as the target, and you could see if your alignment is there. Mm-hmm. So then you bring it back to the point where you're perfectly aligned, and then you just straighten your arm, and it should go in. All other things being equal, if you have some, well, if you have a messed up release and you can't throw a straight dart where your dart corkscrews in the air, I'm not sure this would work. Mm-hmm. I throw a straight dart. My dart flies proper. I throw a proper dart. I can say that without any arrogance at all. So it's just something I was monkeying around with the other day, and I was like, I don't think we've ever talked about this.
No, we never have.
So I guess, so what's the conclusion? I don't aim.
You don't aim.
I don't aim.
Right.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Hand-eye coordination.
And here's a way to aim. And I've, baseball as a kid, from the age of 5, you develop hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
Pretty much most guys do. So the guys that play ball and don't get cut or have to sit on the bench the whole time. Are we good?
I think so.
Any update on the Hawks?
1-0 at the end of one.
It's not good news,
2 periods
man.
left.
That is not good news.
Well,
I think they're going down.
they haven't lost yet.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll be dart talking to you next week. So everyone take care. Safe travels if you're going anywhere.